Hello. Today is November 1st, which means we're going to recap how our Roth IRA did in October of 2025. So if we look, the current balance is sitting at $24,152.15. In the last day, that's up $103.43%. Got the last week, let's see here, up $183.31, which is 0.76%. But over the last month, that's up 3.4%. So another great month. Look at some other metrics. 12% in 3 months, 21% year to date, 25% for the last year, and then all time since we moved over to Robinhood, we are up 33.89%, which is great. We can see some of our equities over here that we're holding. We have QQQM at 57.42 shares. Comes out to $14,872 exactly. And then we have 14.79 shares of VU, which is $9,280.14. So this is basically a 60-40 split in my portfolio. That's how I like to keep it. Look at our contributions for the year. We hit $2,500 contributed. The goal is to max this out by the time tax season comes around and we're allowed to keep contributing. So hopefully get this up to $7,000. But you can see that we do have Robinhood Gold. So we've got a $75 IRA match. And yeah, $4,500 until we get full. So doing great on this. We do have our weekly buys down here. So that's all great to see. Now let's get into some stock news. So if we look at Nvidia this month became the first company in history to hit $5 trillion market cap, which is absolutely insane. It is the biggest company in the world and seems to just keep growing. And you can see in like the last week, it went up from, let's see. Last week up 8%. So they were trading at mid 180s and now they're trading at $200 per share. Which before, if you count that stock split, they'd be at 2,000. So it's just continually gone up. I mean, I don't even have to bring up the metrics to show the stock just seems to keep going up. I don't know how realistic it is to see if it continues this trend, but for now it is following it and people are continually being bullish on it. So cool milestone that the world hit. Then we have AMD, and their stock recently boosted up. Look at it last week. Kind of had this large jump. Let's see. Yeah, I think it was about there. So they had a large jump. Yeah, right here. Beginning of October. So they're up 58% for the month. That is incredible. Now, why did they do this? They partnered with OpenAI to build data centers. So just kind of a big partnership going on with the chip making world and data centers. Nothing new, but seems like whenever a company partners up with OpenAI, it just boosts their stock. People instantly become way more bullish on it. AMD is in the same boat as that. Let's look at Apple shares. So something that surprised me, they have strong iPhone 17 sales. That was unexpected because quite frankly, the iPhone is failing to innovate. But it seems that maybe people skipped on the 16, waited out on the 17th, and sales are coming in good. At the point in time, earlier this month, I forget when they reported it, but they were beating iPhone 16 sales at that same time frame by 14%. So, I mean, we can look in the last month here, up 5.27% in a month, doing great. I mean, a lot of that is just from like general market gains, but I mean, yeah, you can see over here, people just started realizing, oh, hold up, they're actually, they're not really dying, they're actually going crazy. So, that's great to see. Apple's been doing great. In a stock, I like to look at ones that aren't really on my radar. So when I was looking, I saw Caterpillar. I'm like, okay, I looked at Caterpillar stock I've thought about before, but look at this last month, up 22%. And if you look year to date, 58%. Absolutely crazy. Why is Caterpillar doing good? You'd think Caterpillar is kind of like out of the equation of what's going on in the world. Well, a lot of this comes from the fact that they're building these data centers and they're providing like the tools for the data centers. So I mean, you can see right here. So let's look at the about engages in the business of manufacturing, construction, and mining equipment. Okay, so they're making a lot of this equipment that has to be used for construction data centers. If you live anywhere in the Midwest, you probably know about these things being constructed. A lot used like water reservoirs to cool them down, but nonetheless, they need these resources to build these incredibly large buildings, and they're very technology and infrastructure based. So Caterpillar's been kind of just riding off the high of that, and yeah, no, it's great to see. So if we go on VU, just like an S&P tracker, look at Max, at least on Robinhood here, you'll see that at the end of this month we hit all-time highs in the stock market, which is it's great to see. I've expressed my concerns about maybe the market being overvalued and AI being a bubble, and I think a lot of things are starting to just shake out now. So, in terms of like stuff like advertising and photo generation and creativity, in a lot of senses, AI falls short. People kind of get sick more or less of seeing it. It's kind of like AI slop, that term. It's just regurgitated information and regurgitated patterns being shown to people. And at first, it's kind of interesting. You know, people are like, oh, this is kind of neat. But after a while, it gets a little stale. So people are kind of hating on AI in that way. I think there are very practical terms. In ways that I think is code creation. It is incredibly fast, and a lot of code out there in the world that people use is already code that's been made before. It's not like everyone's making everything from scratch. If you got a baseline, you might as well use that and then, expound upon it. So when it comes to using things like Claude AI or ChatGPT, quite frankly, it does great when it comes to coding. I use it all the time. It's amazing. I mean, in terms of like spreadsheeting and categorizing your spreadsheets, that's nice. You got AI summarizations, those are good. AI agents are kind of on the fence. How much work can AI do for you? It seems like there's been a lot of innovation out there. And if we look, I know Amazon specifically recently made a lot of layoffs, and although they're not going to say it's from AI, it's more or less from AI. So you can see their stock went 10% over here. I think that was from earnings. But this was around the time they started announcing layoffs, and people weren't really feeling that too much. I'm not sure if we can see the news down here. Yeah, no, I don't think so, but I believe it was like 6,000 workers, which for Amazon, that isn't a crazy amount. It's a small percentage. But nonetheless, that a lot of jobs were getting cut because AI can do that. I mean, I think I've seen robots by them that use like mechanical vision, more or less, to stock things properly. So, I mean, those kind of jobs are definitely getting automated, which Amazon needs because their actual like main Amazon.com operations aren't the most profitable. They have razor thin margins. AI can push those margins into a more acceptable range. So that's kind of all I had for stock news. Let's just go over how our portfolio did over time. So look at our portfolio here. You'll see the green is the balance, red is contributions in total at any given time, and the blue is the SPY. So we're comparing ourselves against how VU has done. So, or SPY, how the S&P has done. So you can see over here, contributions steadily going up, and I have increased my rated contributions, and I do plan on consistently staying at this. I think it's $100 every single Monday. And then when the end of the year comes around tax season, and I might get some taxes back too, we're definitely going to look at trying to max out the Roth IRA. So we'll probably see a big spike come May, but that should only be about $2,000. So we'll see at that point. But you can see that the markets, both of them have just incredibly taken off, and it seems like I've been saying that ever since 2023, where the markets have just been roaring up. I mean, I wasn't profitable until the middle of 2023, and now we're incredibly profitable, and we can see that over here. So look at our portfolio profit. At 2023, we were not profitable. Even a little before 2024 is looking like it might pull back and bring us back down there. But nonetheless, it kept pushing up. So we're currently sitting at a portfolio profit of $8,653, which is incredible. And if we look at the difference between how we're doing in respect to the S&P, I feel like I gotta fix this metric right here. So we'll look into that another time. But we can see that we're currently outperforming by $520.68, which is, that's great in my book, considering I only have 20-some thousand dollars in my account, outperforming the general market by 500. That's 500 more dollars that get to be invested and compounded over the next couple of decades. I'm taking that because that's a lot of money. Quite frankly, that's tens of thousands of dollars worth of difference. So yeah, we're taking that any day. And then if we look at our positions here, so we have QQQM and VU, which we kind of talked about before. Portfolio balance, what I was sitting at last market close, SPY comparison, contributions, profit. You'll see this 57%. Obviously, this wasn't kind of weighted through my contributions throughout time. It's just the profit I have received on the account divided by my current balance. So something to keep in mind. I mean, I've been investing for 4 years now. I'm still happy with that number, even though it's not weighted correctly. It's great. You can see there's some closed positions. I haven't been doing any stock buying, so this has been relatively the same. You can see too that we have to pick up our VU contributions, considering it's falling a little behind because QQQ has just been shooting up lately. And then I do believe we just had some predictions here so we're kind of working on this. You can see that 85.7% of my predictions are correct. So I guess correctly. That's a pretty nice feeling. 12 being correct, 2 being wrong. But then we can see that we did have a bet on what the Fed would do with rates. And again, this is a lot of small money. This is something I've been doing on the side, just seeing if I can outperform the market just by putting some pretty safe and calculated bets, in my opinion. I wouldn't say bets. I'm just kind of trading off expected value in a lot of cases. But this one was more of a bet. I didn't actually run any calculations or look at any graphs for it. It was kind of an intuition thing, but I thought it was a pretty safe bet considering the odds given. I mean, when I bought, the odds of saying that they won't maintain rates was odds of saying they would maintain rates was 12%. So I could buy it at 88 cents. Well, 86 and then plus the 2 commission per contract. And then I also just had another thing that was just for no on cutting the rates more than 25%. So I figured they would move rates. It was pretty safe to assume it's going to be 25 basis points. But then I also said, hey, they're not going to cut more than 25 basis because the thing was like, yeah, they're likely to cut rates, but they're definitely not cutting more than 25 basis points considering on the data. So we traded out both of those. You can see the first one, 294% annualized return. The second one, 24% annualized return. And I'm trying to see, yeah, held this for about a month. So held it for a fair amount of time and still saw some pretty good value come out of it. Although I only made like 60 cents here and 10 cents there. You know, we're still testing it out, putting our feet in it before we put more money into this kind of thing. But nonetheless, very happy with how we've been performing. I think we're in a great position. And next month, at the end of November, Robinhood Banking should be released. So I plan on making a video on that entirely because I'm being quite integrated, even looking at mortgages through Sage Home Loans, which is through Robinhood. So a lot of fun stuff. Make sure to stay tuned. Recommend this video to your friends, parents, teachers. Like the video, leave comments, subscribe for more, and leave any suggestions that you might have in the comments, especially when it comes to stock valuations. I did not do one this month, but I plan on doing one in November, maybe 2 if I have the time. So we'll look into that. But regardless, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.